2021. Um, Down in my basement, I've moved my recording area to a little bit more of a place where I have room where I can leave things set up. So I'm working on making improvements. I have some new lighting coming, and I'll have a backdrop that I'll be able to put up behind me to have this look a little bit more like an actual set. Um, Anyways, so just first of all, if you haven't seen me around making videos, that is because I took off whole year of creating content, and the biggest reason was honestly I was burnt out trying to come up with things that I wanted to create, also having the time or the desire to want to put together videos because there's so many people that are out there that are making content right now, and it really is a challenge. So I had decided to take a year off, and this was back in probably like November of last year. Might have been around the last time. I think the last video that I did was like a table talk video, and so now I have decided to reboot the channel. I've got a bunch of fresh ideas and different things that I'm wanting to do for building community and talking about the games that I love. So, first of all, let me give you a recap about what happened in 2020. So, like I said, I had taken a whole year off. In fact, I wasn't even planning on going to any conventions. And of course, I did, just in case I changed my mind, I had gotten a press badge for Gen Con, and in the lottery, I had like hotel access within the first uh, 15 minutes, so I could have had my pick of any of the places that was down there. Go figure too, because we ended up not being able to go anyways. So on the so 2020 has been a weird year for gaming altogether. So we obviously had COVID-19 came in March and shut everything down, and at that point, pretty much most of my gaming ceased to exist for quite a while. So I had gone through and done a lot of things. So let me just run down. I have a list here. Let me talk about what I did. So the first thing that I did was this year, I pretty much cut my collection in half. I went from having a library of around 500 games to less than 240. I'm in the 230 range right now. I changed the composition of my collection because a lot of the games that I had were Euro games and stuff that you needed to have multiple players for to play. And with things changing around, and my family, the kids are older now, they're away at school, so I have my niece and nephew here. I don't really have very many people to play games with. And then even on top of that, they don't really like a lot of the strategy games. I do. So I got more of the cooperative games or things that I could play solo. So I did a lot of that. And so I did a bunch of selling and trading, and I did buy some new games. I mean, I sold off a bunch of games, made a bunch of trades, brought in some new things, and all the while I still kept my collection at 50% of what I started back in January of 2020. So I thought that was pretty good, being able to cut the collection down and being able to rearrange my collection to adapt to the way things are changing now. So the other thing that I did was this year, like on Kickstarter, I didn't really back any project. I backed two projects. I went in for $1 on Crescent City Cargo to support that one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do because pick up and deliver games are not really my jam. And even though I want to support the designer, I really don't want to bring in a game that's just going to sit on my shelf and do nothing, because it's going to be more of a pain in the butt to try and get rid of it later on. And I already have Captains of the Gulf, so I did not need to get a printing of that. The second project that I did back on Kickstarter was for the expansion for Vindication. So I really enjoy that game. In fact, I'm hoping to bring like a playthrough of the game to the channel so that you can see how it's played if you're not familiar with it. I probably will run through a solo scenario from the Leaders and Alliances expansion just to bring the game some attention to you. The other thing that I did, and this was kind of huge for me, was I pretty much one of the reasons why I was getting burnt out too is that in this hobby there is a lot, in my opinion, there's a lot of toxicity and there's a lot of um, just nonsense that goes on. People bringing politics into a hobby. Our hobby is escapism, so it's a way for us to use cardboard as a way to separate ourselves from normal everyday life. And so when that stuff starts crossing over into the hobby, then it's time for me to cut that out. So I kind of eliminated a lot of that stuff from my social media feeds, and it made a big, huge difference. In terms of gaming, this past 2020, I did not game with a group for March, April, and May. And then this past November and December, I didn't really get a chance to play with any kind of a gaming group. So over the summer, one of the things that I did do is I had a really limited group. I had my friend Chris, who you've seen on the channel, and then my other friends, Jeff and Sherry. You may have seen them in some of my Facebook Live videos. We decided to get together, and we were playing games on a weekly basis. Once a week, we'd get together. One of the things that we did play through was Clank Legacy. And we had a blast playing through that. That was a lot of fun. So I really enjoyed that. For half of the year, I didn't really get a chance to have a gaming group to play with. I didn't really play a lot of games with them. We ended up playing more stuff like Uno and things around the house. And then, so the other thing too, looking at the games for 2020, overall, what's my impression of the games that came out this year? They were pretty much lackluster. I didn't really think that 2020 had offered a lot of really, really, really good games, in my opinion, or at least ones that I own. Late in the year, there were a few that came out that people are talking about, but I have not had a chance to get a hold of them. But I will tell you, of the games that I have played, the biggest hit of 2020 that I played was Pan Am. I really liked that game. I did pick up Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion, but I have not had a chance to dive into that, and I'm looking forward to doing that and bringing it to the channel. I'll probably film a couple of the scenarios, playthrough scenarios to see that. And probably the biggest miss of 2020 that I played, there was, I guess in terms of the money that I put into it, the biggest miss for me was Mezzo. I just think that game was fell completely flat. I thought it was ugly. I looked at it as soon as I got it. I opened up the box and I'm like, oh, I can't even stand the color palette of this in person. I knew that there was going to be a lot of these earth tones that were leaning towards the green, and so I tried to overlook that. We played the game, and it just didn't really do anything for me. It's just another game, a JAG if you call them. So those were like basically the highlights of what I thought about the gaming, because this year at the end of the year, I looked at the games that I owned that released in 2020, and I only have like 15. So I couldn't even come up with like a top list, and I know that there was already a number of them that I got rid of. The other one that was a big miss for me was Scooby-Doo Betrayal at Mystery Mansion. Big disappointment. They had such an opportunity with that game, with that theme, and they blew it. So anyways, moving on from that, just wanted to talk about what's going to be coming up on the channel moving forward. So a lot of the things that I'm looking to do is I'm wanting to grow the channel through here on YouTube, and then also trying to increase my audiences over on Facebook and Instagram. I love to take pictures of the games that I'm playing, and I post them up on there. And also the other thing is I'm going to try to build a community. And one of the ways that I'm going to be doing that is trying to orchestrate some online play sessions. I'm working with trying to figure things out through Discord and some other stuff, a few other platforms, to be able to be able to get together and try to play certain games together where we can do it virtually, like through online. And then also, it's kind of bridged the gap, because a lot of people are probably in a similar situation like me, where we're still kind of isolated or trying to keep away from each other. We still want to play games. And so I figured I'm going to experiment with a new way to be able to build a platform for building a community and being able to play games together. And it would really be cool to do that across the globe. And I'm going to talk about some of the games here in a little bit. The other thing that I'm going to do is trying to build more community by doing collaborations with some other content creators. Now, you've already seen me, if you follow my channel or know that I'm aware that I have done a collaboration project with Tim Norris of Gray Elephant Gaming and Tim Bresnan of Dad versus Daughter, and we have a show called Dad, Dave, and the Elephant, and that one we're working on trying to find a way for us to be able to stream that without having to pay for a software program to be able to do that. We used to use Google Hangouts and stream that way, so we're looking at being able to do that. And then I have some other folks that I'm looking to be able to work with as well. And on the sense of building community with collaborations, a couple of channels that I want to mention that I'm really digging right now is you want to check out Doug Herring of Mystic Eye Games. He does a lot of playthrough sessions, and getting to know him, and he's really a cool guy. One of the people that I'm looking to do some collaboration projects with. Another one, he does some board game stuff, but if you're looking for a perspective on films, especially from a British perspective, check out this guy, Philip Conlinson. His name is Mr. Superphil on YouTube. You can check him out. He's a newer content creator. I like some of the things that he does, so you want to check them out. And then I do also follow Our Family Plays Games. In fact, I have one of the original Our Family Plays Games shirts that came out when they first released them, like several months ago. So, and before they changed who they have making their shirts now. So I just wanted to give a shout out to those guys as well. A couple more things that I want to do too is try to come out with a weekly content, come up with some updates, things that are going to be coming up on the channel, projects that I'm working on, different things that I have planned, and then so weekly updates, and then trying to do some online gaming sessions. So those are the plans for the channel going forward. Also wanted to let you know that if you're watching this, that I actually officially relaunched the channel with releasing part 1 of a playthrough of Lost Ruins of Arnak from Czech Games Edition. So it's a 2-session video. The other one is going to be releasing in another day or so. But the first video, I go through, spend the first bit doing a tutorial. I actually have in the video comments, if you want to skip ahead over the tutorial and just watch the playthrough, you can get to that. But I do, in part 1, I do the first 2 rounds, and the second video I have will finish up the game. And then I have plans to do some future videos of that, doing the opposite side of the board. There's a bird temple and a serpent temple. I did the bird temple. I'm going to do the serpent temple. And then they also have some solo content that's just came out, and they have a campaign that I'm hoping to do some things with that as well. Also, one of the other things that I've been kicking around in my mind is that there are people that are coming into the hobby, and I'm looking at doing a beginner series. So a series of videos with tutorials of how to play the game, but also some strategy tips so that you can be able to get up and running and play and be competitive when you play. So I have one of those that's going to be coming up probably in maybe a week or so, and that is Dominion for beginners. So I went through and did a tutorial talking about Dominion and how the game plays, understanding the language on the cards, and then I also talked about certain ways to play the game. I have one that I'm going to be doing for Seven Wonders. I know a lot of people will get into that game. They find that to be confusing. A lot of new players, you spend the first three games trying to figure out, what am I supposed to be doing? So I want to break that down and give some strategy guides for that. I have a few other ones. I have a list I keep in a notebook of ideas that I have. The other thing that I'm going to do is I have a list of games that I'm going to be calling a true classic series, and looking at games that have been around for a long time, whether they're ones that you may like, you may not like, games that I may like or may not like, but they still have merit because of the contributions that they've made to the industry. And I'm going to bring those out. Are they still relevant? What are the games that they have, what games have been inspired by them? So I'm excited about doing that. I am even going to talk about Monopoly. It's a game that I don't like. A lot of people despise it, but the game still has its merits and it's worth talking about, even if nobody decides they may want to watch that video or not. So the other thing behind me, you see a bunch of games that I just put up here mostly to cover up the wall, but some of the things that I am looking to be bringing to the channel in the near future is, first of all, Fortune and Glory. I want to do a playthrough of this. They had to put off the release of the 2 upcoming expansions for Fortune and Glory because of COVID. They have not been able to do photo shoots for the artwork for the Lair of the Spider Queen, and I believe the other one is I forgot what the other one is, like some kind of art relics and artifacts or something like that. There's 2 expansions that they have in the works, and so I'm looking forward to those. But in the meantime, I want to mess around with doing a Fortune and Glory playthrough, and then looking at games like Eldritch Horror, which is very, very similar. I have more plans for Lost Ruins of Arnak. Couple of games here. Alderac Entertainment Group sent me Cubitos. I'm going to have to check that out. This one just kind of showed up on my door. And then I have this Free Market back here from Unique Games. That one was sent over, so we'll be taking a look at those 2. And some of the other games that I've got acquired recently. This Valor and Villainy. This is from Skybound Games. This is a 1 versus many. I'm looking forward to trying to get some people over and filming that one, and then also trying to mess around with Ultra Quest back here, which is a game that pays homage to a lot of the games like Hero Quest and things like that. So looking forward to bringing those to the channel, plus some other things. And a couple of the games that I'm really, really excited about wanting to dive into. The first one is Alice is Missing. And this is definitely a game that there is nothing else that I know of that is like this. This is a game that it's a role-playing game, but it's done silently, all via text message. So the game has to do with the trying to locate a person who has gone missing. Her name is Alice, and you actually have to print out like posters of her. And there's like 8 different Alices, and they're all different. They range in looking very feminine to almost a non-binary type look, where they just kind of look like a gender neutral. They have all different races, different body compositions, and things like that. So it's something that so every time searching for Alice, it's not always the same person. It's always not going to be the same experience either. And then what happens is, over the course of the game, you have one person who is the host or the facilitator. They play one of the roles, and other people play these roles, and you have a certain, like a drive or a motive. And then it's going to be driven by cards that come out. There's going to be certain ones, the cards that will come out. Well, why, there's like locations and why they may be suspicious, certain people that may be suspicious. And then there's a timer, and the game runs for 90 minutes. And people will have certain cards. They're almost like a queue. And at a certain time, you will flip that card over, and it will tell you information that you have to somehow convey to the group. And you also have like a secret that your character has. And so over the course of 90 minutes, you're developing a storyline about what's going on, and it's all done by text messaging. Because Alice is actually like a junior in high school, so you have to put yourself in the mind of a high school student these days, and most of the times they communicate by text message. So I think that this is really, really unique. It's definitely an emotional game. You get invested in your character. And so it's just something that I'm looking to do. I have a digital format, and this is one of the games that I am looking to bring to the channel for online play. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, let me know in the comments. I'll reach out to you and let you know how we can connect to be able to set that up. And then the other one that I decided would kind of be neat to try to do for online play would be Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. And this is the Baker Street Irregulars, which is this is the newest one that just came out. And they actually have some of the assets available for online play. So I think there's like newspaper clippings and a directory and stuff like that. They do not provide you with the case books. I do that. I have that. But I think that it would be kind of neat to try to work through one of these cases playing virtually, trying to work on our leads and trying to see how we can do that. And also, this is a game that's been around. The Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective has been around for a long time. It's not really a board game. It's more of something like a decision and trying to solve a puzzle. And I thought that that would be a neat thing to do as well. So those are some of the plans, things that I have in store for working with the channel. I plan on doing more of the live streaming. I will actually start coming up with a schedule. So one of the things that I would encourage you to do is to check the community tab on the page. Also, make sure if you are not subscribing to this right now, I would ask if you subscribe to the channel. If you are a subscriber or if you're just brand new and you do subscribe, hit the little bell so that you can be up to date with all the notifications of all of the things that will be coming out on the channel. I think it's a great way for you to keep up to date and also be a part of the community that I'm looking to build here for the channel. So anyways, that's it for now. I just wanted to come on here, do a quick update as to what's going on with the channel, letting you know that it's officially being rebooted. I'm going to be doing, content that should be coming out on a weekly basis. I've got lots of ideas. Some of the things will be things that I've been doing before. Other things are going to be new things. A lot more stuff is going to be involved with playthroughs so that you can see the games in action. All right, you guys, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.